The human mass, the human mass lingers beneath the yoke.
Are we recording?
Yes, it's recording. Escape, however high, redeems not life, life that is left behind on a fallen earth.
Well, this is where Sri Aurobindo differs from all the great yogis, avatars, etc. Because first now he's telling us that the human mass is lingering beneath the yoke. Now, when we linger, it's a strange word he uses here, but he uses it very consciously. When we linger, we're fooling around. This guy was lingering outside the the movie. The movie. He was lingering, just hanging around. So the human mass lingers beneath the yoke, but we're not lingering in that way anymore because we're beneath the yoke. We're under the yoke that is the load that binds the oxen together to thresh the grain. That's the true sense of the yoke. It's a wooden bar, that's fastened over these two animals, and they have to pull a cart or they have to thresh grain. So the human mass is lingering, but beneath the yoke. Escape, he says, however high, redeems not life. So this is pretty much contradicted by Sri Ramakrishna, uh, Ramana Maharshi, because they say that once one has reached that unity with the divine, nothing else matters anymore. You're in that realm of absolute perfection, beauty, music, whatever. You're one with the divine. But Sri Aurobindo says, escape, however high, redeems not life. What kind of life? Life that is left behind on a fallen earth. You got it now?
Yes. So,
Okay.
matter. Is
Hmm?
it matter? Is he referring to
No,
that?
all life, all of our lives, human beings, animals, whatever. Everything has to evolve. Everything has to evolve. And therefore, when one achieves moksha, liberation, it's an escape into the divine, into the oneness. So it's not a negative here, it's an escape. But it does not redeem life. Even if it's a very high escape, and the highest escape is unity with the divine. It does not redeem life because life that is left behind on a fallen earth. Now, he says again, he uses the word escape. So you want to start there? Escape cannot.
Escape cannot uplift the abandoned race or bring to it victory and the reign of God. A greater power must come, a larger light.
The greater power is the supramental. So using escape twice is extremely important here for us because escape, however high, does not redeem life, and escape cannot uplift the abandoned race, that's us, or bring to it victory and the reign of God. Why can escape not do that? Because escape is unifying with the Supreme and disregards earth. So a greater power must come, a larger light. And this is so important because this is what Mother and Sri Aurobindo have come for. They have the greater power and they are bringing the larger light. Okay, continue.
Although light grows on earth and night recedes, yet till the evil is slain in its own home, and light invades the world's inconstant base, and perished has the adversary foe, he still must labor on, his work half done.
Well, he's telling us exactly what has to happen there. This is so important. So let's go through it from the beginning. And I have to go way up here now. Okay. First, he says that light is growing on the earth and night is receding. This is not what we see today or what we feel today, but it is what is actually happening. The light is growing greater and it's pressing on the night, and the night is fighting back, but the night will always lose to the light. So, although light grows on earth, now he's speaking here of earth, he's speaking here of us. All this that we've just read is about us, the human mass. It's the few escaped. It's only the pure in soul that can walk in light. See? So he says, although light grows on earth and night recedes, yet till the evil is slain in its own home. What is evil's own home? Earth and humanity. And light, capital L, light invades the world's inconscient base. So the light has to go all the way down. And that is where Sri Aurobindo has described these 15 cantos in Book 2. The plains, the world's stare. He has brought the light, and we will see in later cantos, into the darkest darkness. And he says the inconscient itself is only an involved state of consciousness, which, like the Tao or Shunya, though in a different way, contains all things suppressed within it, so that under a pressure from above or within, all can evolve out of it. The inconscient is the last resort of the ignorance, he says in Letters on the Yoga. So light is involving, it's actually coming into this, invading it. He uses the word invades the world's inconscient base. And invading that, what is going to happen next? Because yet, till the evil is slain in its own home, now we know where that evil is, it's all around us, and light invades the world's inconscient base. And I have to go here. And perished has the adversary force. Mother speaks so often of the adversary force, being the Asura, and how she converted 2 of them, and 2 of them would not change. So now I have to go to the next page. It's 449. He still must labor on, his work half done. Now, that is the work of the avatars of the past. Krishna, Christ. He still must labor on, his work half done. All the great avatars have been killed, have been slain. Christ slain on the cross, Krishna slain. But then he's going to give us the key. One yet may come. This is Sri Aurobindo speaking of himself. One yet may come, armored Invincible, his will immobile, meets the mobile hour. The world's blows cannot bend that victor head. Calm and sure are his steps in the growing night. The goal recedes, he hurries not his pace. He turns not to high voices in the night. He asks no aid from the inferior gods. His eyes are fixed on his immutable aim. Speaking autobiographically. Okay, so read on.
Man turns aside or chooses easier path. He keeps to the one high and difficult
Oh
road.
no, you have to read. I read instead of you reading there, so you have to
Oh,
read. He still must labor on.
one yet may come armored, invincible. His will immobile meets the mobile hour. His world's blows cannot bend that victor head. Calm and sure are his steps in the growing night. The goal received, he hurries not his pace. He turns not to high voices in the night. He asks no aid from the inferior gods. His eyes are fixed on his immutable aim.
Immutable, not subject or susceptible to change. And we have the word, we have immobile from Sri Aurobindo. Akshara, the immobile, the immutable, is the silent and inactive self. It is the unity of the divine being, witness of nature, but not involved in its movement. It is the inactive Purusha, free from Prakriti and her works. So his will is immobile and it comes up against the mobile hour. But the world's blows cannot bend that victor head. He is calm and he is sure of his steps in the growing night. Even if the goal recedes, he doesn't hurry his pace. He doesn't turn to anyone, he asks no help because his eyes are fixed on his immutable aim. Now, the next extraordinary part.
What are the high voices in the night?
Well, high voices in the night can be the gods who have powers, but he doesn't turn to those high voices. He doesn't turn to any celestial beings. He is his own man, as we say commonly. Sri Aurobindo was unique in the world's evolution, very unique. People disagreed with him, didn't matter, he went on. Krishna Prem, Arjava, Raman Maharshi, they had their different ways. And Sri Aurobindo would comment on them. I have Arjava's poetry with Sri Aurobindo's comments written in his own hand in the book. And I'm going to read them. He was an Englishman, and I think he died in his early 40s. But his poetry I'll be putting up every week for many weeks. Sri Aurobindo said the poetry that he's doing is not of this time, but he felt that Arjava was in the Druidic ages, and that he drew from the Druidic ages of the past life his poetry. So he was a Druid. Incredible, Sri Aurobindo knows all these things. So, now, man turns aside or chooses easier paths. Semicolon. Who is the he again? The divine. He keeps. Read on.
Man turns aside or chooses easier path. He keeps to the one high and difficult road that soul can climb to the eternal peak. The ineffable plains already have felt his tread. He has made heaven and earth his instrument, but the limits fall from him of earth and heaven. Their law he transcends, but uses as his means.
Ah, so he's speaking now of the divine as this victorious, Kalki, moving force. So even though man turns aside because it's too difficult, and then he chooses easier paths, which is not something we can do because we have been called by Mother and Sri Aurobindo, and we have to face everything. We have to face the darkness in the world and in ourselves. There's no other way. We cannot turn aside. We cannot choose easier paths because we chose them. But there is also the sunlit path. We'll talk about that one day. So that soul can climb. Soul here means only, unrivaled, unique, being one, solitary. Now, the eternal here is, from the dictionary, the eternal is by its nature without beginning or end. And the eternal is God. And Sri Aurobindo agrees. And he says, but each of us is the whole eternal concealed. Fantastic. Each is the whole eternal concealed. And in the Life Divine, he says, the eternal is our refuge. All the rest are false values. The ignorance and its mazes, a self-bewilderment of the soul in phenomenal nature. So we have to look always to the light, Sanjana, never to the darkness. And never let the darkness invade our thoughts or our minds, because there's only light. All the rest are false values, as he says. The eternal is our refuge. So, can you read from the beginning?
The human mass lingers beneath the yoke. Escape, however high, redeems not life, life that is left behind on a fallen earth. Escape cannot uplift the abandoned race or bring to it victory and the reign of God. A greater power must come, a larger light. Although light grows on earth and night recedes, yet till the evil is slain in its own home, and light invades the world's inconscient base, and perished has the adversary force, he still must labor on, his work half done. One yet may come armored, invincible, his will immobile meets the mobile hour. The world's blows cannot bend that victor head. Calm and sure are his steps in the growing night. The goal recedes, he hurries not his pace. He turns not to high voices in the night. He asks no aid from the inferior gods. His eyes are fixed on his immutable aim. Man turns aside or chooses easier paths. He keeps to the one high and difficult road that soul can climb to the eternal's peaks. The ineffable plains already have felt his tread. He has made heaven and earth his instruments, but the limits fall from him of heaven and of earth and heaven. Their law he transcends, but uses as his need. Why do you say that, though? Is is there
Because reading, I didn't feel you really caught the meaning of these lines so well. I think now maybe a little better. I hope.
I haven't been able to sit down and connect. I
Ah,
don't know
that's
why.
it. That's it. That's what I feel. Yeah. Okay. Good. We'll work next week.
Yes, I will see you
Okay.
next week.
All right.